First and foremost, I want to say thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. If it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be possible. Low Nose Boxing. Hit the like button, share the video, leave a comment, subscribe. Let's get me to 1,000. We almost there. We're a little bit more than halfway there. Anyway, what I want to talk about right now is the history of boxing. You know my gimmick, the past, the present, and the future. I like to bring you up to speed to historic events. So what I'm going to do is bring you up to a historic, unfortunately this is historic because it's been going on for generations. And that is the fact that in boxing, we do not always get the fights that we want when we want them, or we just don't get the fights that we want at all at times. So what we're going to talk about right now are fights that we never got to see. And I'm not talking about fantasy fights. I'm not talking about mythical matchups. Example, Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. I'm not going to talk about Floyd Mayweather versus Sugar Ray Leonard. No, I'm talking about fights that could have actually happened but never did. I'm talking about fights between fighters that competed around the same time, during the same era, in or around the same weight class, but those fights never happened. Now, back in the day, during the Four King era, that generation always gets praised. Everybody always says the Four Kings, they fought each other. They all fought each other. That's true, but not entirely correct. Wilfredo Benitez took on Sugar Ray Leonard. He took on Roberto Duran. He took on Tommy Hearns. But he never got a chance to fight Marvelous Marvin Hagler. A lot of people leave Wilfredo Benitez off that list of the Four Kings. But for me, he's the fifth king. He's definitely an honorable mention. But him and Marvin Hagler is a fight that never happened. As far as why, I really don't know. Because I wasn't around watching boxing during that time. That wasn't my generation. But I do my due diligence, like I said before, because I am a boxing historian. Sugar Ray Leonard and Aaron Pryor, that's a fight that we could have had, but never happened. Now, Sugar Ray and Marvin Hagler were not in the same weight class. Not Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray and Aaron Pryor. They were not in the same weight class. Aaron Pryor was a junior welterweight. Sugar Ray Leonard was a welterweight. Aaron Pryor was calling Sugar Ray Leonard out, but Sugar Ray Leonard chose for the bigger names, guys like Hearns and guys like Duran. So Aaron Pryor, even though he's a legend and he's in the Hall of Fame, he never got a chance to have those fights against guys like Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns. Roberto Duran, another fighter who missed out on a couple of fights that could have been big. Duran and Alexis Arguello, that's a fight that we never had. When Duran was at 135, him and Alexis Arguello could have fought, but that fight never happened. If Roberto Duran would have made a pit stop at 140 before going to welterweight to challenge Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran and Aaron Pryor could have been a big fight as well. That could have been huge, right? I can go on and on. Mike Tyson and Lennox Lewis. In the 90s, when Mike Tyson went to prison, a young crop of heavyweights bursted upon the scene. Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis, Michael Moorer, Ray Mercer, Tommy Morrison. These are all fights that eluded Mike Tyson's illustrious career. Mike Tyson never got a chance to take on any of those young guys. And the ones that he did fight in Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield was later on further in their career. And Tyson at the time was badly faded. We never got a chance to see Lennox Lewis versus Riddick Bowe. In the welterweight division, Felix Trinidad and Ike Quartey, that's a fight that we never got a chance to see. And during that time, during that era, 147, which was a very, very, very solid era, there was a Mexican knockout artist called Jose Luis Lopez. Jose Luis Lopez, a.k.a. Maestrito. Lopez was a problem. And he had a draw with Ike Quartey. Him and Trinidad would have been a great fight. Him and Oscar De La Hoya would have been a great fight. Oscar De La Hoya fought everybody, but at 140, he never got a chance to take on Kostya Tszyu. So the point I'm trying to make is that we do not always get the fights that we want to see. That's how boxing is. That's how boxing is. Juanma Lopez and Yuriorkis Gamboa, those two were on a collision course. But Bob Arum decided to marinate that. He marinated that fight and started to put them each against common opponents. And every time he did that, Gamboa looked levels better than Juanma Lopez. And that fight never got a chance to happen because Juanma eventually lost to Orlando Salido twice. And right now, today, we got 4 young champions that people call the 4 young kings. I'm just going to call them the 4 young guns: Teofimo Lopez, Gervonta Davis, Devin Haney, and Shakur Stevenson. They may not all fight each other. You know, they may go the rest of their career without facing each other. We might get some fights. I believe eventually we're going to get Teofimo versus Devin Haney. I believe we're going to get Teofimo versus Gervonta. But for some reason, I don't think Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez is ever going to happen. I don't think that Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney is ever going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to spew negative energy into the boxing world. I'm just calling it how I see it, you know. And I hope I'm wrong. I really do. You know, we got Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, for instance. That fight finally took place. But it looked like to a point where that fight wasn't going to happen. It really did, and I'm glad that it did. And I'm hoping that I'm wrong about the 4 young guns not fighting each other. But in boxing, that's how it is. Everybody doesn't always fight each other when we want them to fight, and everybody doesn't always fight each other during their era. That's just how the sport of boxing is. But nevertheless, I just wanted to drop some history. You know, the history of fights that we never got a chance to see. Fights that could have happened, but never did happen. And let's hope that Gervonta, Teo, Devin Haney, Shakur Stevenson, let's hope that those guys don't fall into that list of fights that we never got a chance to see. With that being said, hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to my channel, Low Nose Boxing, because Low Nose Boxing, I'm out.